Hello, my name is Koibo and I'm from Christian Life Assembly, and I will be talking about the difference between knowing God and knowing about God. Tim Keller once said, "You can know about God without knowing God, but you can't know God without knowing about Him." What on earth was he trying to say? He was pointing out the difference between relationship with God and knowledge about Him from a distance. When I was little, I learned about God through Bible stories, Christian kids shows, and Sunday morning kids' life at church. My parents had family devotions and bedtime prayer. So I knew that God was real, and that He did miracles in the past, and that He loved us and died for us. I was happy where I was. God was good enough for me where He was, at a distance. Then my life changed. My sister got sick with cancer, and knowing about God didn't seem good enough anymore. I needed God to show up in my life with His characteristics. Because I knew about Him, I knew where to love to get close to Him. My first stop was the Word Spirit Power Conference at church. This time I went seeking God, not satisfied with what I already had. I went forward to pray, and when I got close to the speaker, he touched me. Right there and then, the power of God came over me, and I was laying on the ground with the presence on top. In that moment, there was no distance between us, and it made me want more of Him. My concern is that knowing about God from a distance is becoming more common among people who call themselves Christians. It's as if individuals have become complacent in their pursuit of God. I think there are at least two reasons for this. Number one, people are afraid of what getting close to God may cost them. And number two, individuals don't really know how to see God. What exactly does it cost someone to get close to God? James 2:24 says, "By acts of obedience, a born-again believer reveals his faith." That means you have to respect God enough in your heart to live how He asks you to live. You have to be accountable to a higher power, to a God you can't control, a God you cannot put into a box. And it can be scary. Ultimately, you have to leave the comfort you have knowing there's a God who accepts you as you are, and embrace the God who loves you too much to leave you the way you are.
Exactly.
I believe it's also important to consider the cost of keeping God at a distance. If we abandon a real and living relationship with God, we also abandon the gifts and fruits of the Spirit, including love, joy, and peace. We leave behind the power and purpose of God for our lives, and we give up the ability to affect others for the kingdom. How do we change this? How do we go about seeking God? Going back to my story, other believers who can pray for you and with you are a good place to start. Praying on your own and asking God to show Himself is also good. But one of the best places to seek God is the Bible. That's what Tim Keller meant when he said, "You can't know God without knowing about God." One of the reasons so many Christians don't know how to find God is because they don't spend time in His Word. Lifeway research revealed that only 45% of those who regularly attend church read the Bible more than once a week. Over 40% of people attending read their Bible occasionally, maybe once or twice a month. Almost 1 out of every 5 churchgoers say they never read the Bible. Learning what the Bible says about God helps us to recognize God when we encounter Him. It also helps us to know what He wants us to do and how He wants us to obey Him. The Bible is the instruction manual for relationship with God. From Genesis to Revelation, we are given stories and direct messages of who God is and how He wants us to live with Him. I want to encourage you to know God. Do not keep Him at a distance. Learn all you can about Him so you can get closer to Him. Read the Bible and believe His promises, like come near to God and He will come near to you. And when you seek me with all your heart, you will find me. And for everyone who keeps on asking, receives, and he who keeps on seeking will find. And to him who keeps on knocking, it will be opened. I started seeking God because my need got too big just to know about Him. Experiencing His presence helped me to trust Him through a very difficult time, and keeps me coming back for more. Thank you.